It's June, and on the 12th, we got a new album released from one of the most popular artists working today, Olivia Rodrigo. Her new album, You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love, is out now, and so I thought I would take this opportunity to talk about her music. It's just me today, and I'll be discussing my personal history with Olivia Rodrigo, briefly reviewing her new album, and ranking every song of hers that is in our Neptune music library, in a tier list. Thank you for joining for episode 6 of For the Record with CMC Neptune. I'll get into it right after this. Okay, we are back. My name is Drew Rourke, and welcome back to the show. And today we're talking about Olivia Rodrigo. Like I said in the intro, I'm going to start by talking about my personal history with her music. And my personal history is none. I have zero history with her. She's someone that I never really spent much time listening to until prepping for this episode. I'm personally not usually drawn to, trendy pop music, so I kind of dismissed her as just another pop artist. And in listening to her music this past week to prepare for this episode, I was wrong. I think she's a very strong writer, but she's using pop music to kind of express her ideas and her thoughts and her feelings, which I think is cool and interesting and smart. And so I gotta say, after listening to her music and preparing for this episode, I've become a mild fan of her music. I wouldn't say I'm a big fan, but I certainly appreciate her music more than I have in the past. And a few of these songs I'm going to talk about later actually might end up in like my personal rotation of music. Might end up in some playlists that I listen to. So it's been fun exploring this genre that I just don't usually listen to. And speaking of exploring this genre, I'm going to review her new album. Like I said in the intro, the album is titled, You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. This is her third studio album, and I think this is without a doubt her best album so far. I really like the structure of this album. It has a kind of constant up and down structure to it. You've got these really fun pop songs, and then you've got these kind of slower, less produced, more melancholy songs, which makes for like a really consistently engaging listen. I also think like the structure of it being a full narrative. The beginning of the album is the start of this relationship that she's in, and then you go on this long journey of the different phases of that relationship, and then by the end, the relationship ends, and it's like a very full structure. And by the end, I actually found myself being like emotionally invested in this thing, and I'm surprised by that. Just as someone who doesn't really listen to pop music like this, I'm surprised that it hit me in the way that it did. Several of the songs in this album, I think, are at the top of her catalog. I think she's doing stuff in this album that is a step up in her maturity as an artist, both lyrically as well as musically. There are moments in this album where she opts to do a less produced song, to just express the ideas and let her voice do all the work. And I think that's just a mature thing to do. It's not as, I don't know, the youthfulness isn't at play here in the same way as some of the previous albums. So this one just appeals to me more, just as a listener. So yeah, this is just a really solid album all around. If I had to give it like a star rating, I'd probably give it 4 out of 5 stars. Like I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really great. So yeah, make sure you check it out. It came out on the 12th. I believe there are 13 tracks. So it's a really, really easy listen, really fun listen. Highly recommend it. So now I want to talk about some of her songs specifically. And to do that, I'm going to do a tier list ranking. So in our Neptune music library, we have 19 of Olivia Rodrigo songs. This is from her first album, Sour, her second album, Guts, her song that she did for the Hunger Games movie, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and then her latest album are all included. I'm going to be doing a tier list, like I said. That means I'm going to be doing S tier, which is the best of the best. A tier, which I would say is great. B tier, which I would say is good, middle of the road, fine even. C tier, maybe it's just not for me. And then D tier is bad. I hate it. Never want to listen to it again. One note, these are ranking them within her discography. So like an S tier song here is not an S tier song for me in all of music. It's an S tier song for Olivia Rodrigo's catalog. Just want to make that clear, just as a note. So now I'm just going to get into it. I'm going to talk about each song, some reasons why I like it or don't like it, and then I'm going to tell you which tier it's in. So let's get into it. First song is Traitor. This is one of her heartbreak songs, which she has many of, and it's about her ex moving on too quickly. And there's a lot of anger and frustration for this song, but it feels like genuinely kind of sad and emotional. I really like the gentle opening of this song. The harmonies that are at play are really nice. And I really like the Ain't It Funny pre-chorus. I think that sounds very, very nice. She does this thing with her voice that emphasizes the emotion that she's trying to convey, where it almost sounds exhausted, like she's pushing her voice to the limit. And that adds a lot of emotionality. And I think it really, really works, especially in a song like this. And Olivia herself has said that songwriting kind of requires diving into these really painful emotions and being honest with yourself. And this song is a prime example of that. I think it's a really good song. It's not one of her best songs, but I think it's quite good. I'm going to give it a B tier just because it doesn't quite reach the A for me of being great. I think it's quite good, but not quite great. So B tier for Traitor. Okay, the next song is Hope You're Okay. And this is in similar territory as Traitor, but I do think it's a bit harder to revisit just because of how heavy it is. I feel like the song itself is reflecting on kind of losing touch with childhood friends, and especially for her because she grew up in like this Hollywood sphere, and she's off doing these amazing things, but she's not connected to like the people that she grew up with. That kind of her tether to home she doesn't really have anymore. So that's like a really heavy thing to talk about, and it doesn't make for an enjoyable listening experience just because it's kind of a bummer. The song itself is good. I really like the guitar melody and the deep bass that's kind of underneath the whole song. But the kind of sadness that this song has just makes it not very re-listenable to me. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a C tier, but I do like the song. It's just not, I just don't really feel the urge to re-listen to it very much. The next song is Jealousy, Jealousy. And I think this song is one of the best examples of Olivia like capturing something specific about modern life now. I think she kind of nails this social media comparison culture thing that she's constantly kind of talking about. I think this is the best version of it, and it's very Gen Z coded, as they might say. I really like the line in the song, "Their win is not my loss." It's one of those lines that, it's one of the best lines because it kind of it's her reminding herself that someone else's success in life or them having a good life just in general doesn't make her less irrelevant or unimportant. And also the line, "Jealousy, jealousy started following me." It's like, it represents how social media kind of fuels all of these feelings. She may feel this way without social media, but the social media aspect that we all live in now is just making it worse for her. So she's talking about all these things, these like complex ideas about young Gen Z life, but in like a really fun pop song, which I think is kind of what works best about pop music is when they have something to say in like this presentation of something fun. So Jealousy, Jealousy is an easy S tier for me. I think this is one of her best songs. It's such an easy listen. But yeah, again, it has like some really deep stuff to talk about. Next up is Scared of My Guitar. And I think this is one of her best uses of metaphor in all of her music. She is talking about this guitar and how it kind of represents honesty, and how when she's writing music, she can't hide from her true feelings, and those true feelings scare her. and she doesn't want to reveal those feelings. But in order to kind of mature and grow up, she kind of has to. But her only way of doing that is through music. Um, and so she's in this relationship that looks good on the outside, but internally something feels wrong. Um, and she's afraid to like face that truth because she just doesn't want it to hurt her or anyone else around her. I just think that's really smart songwriting. So for me, this is maybe my favorite song of hers. So this is an easy S tier for me. The next song is Can't Catch Me Now. And this was a song that was the closing credits song for the movie Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Full transparency, a movie I do not care for. And so when I first heard this song, well, one, I first heard it when I saw the movie, but in preparing for this episode, I re-listened to it and I kind of struggled with it. I kind of associated it with that movie, kind of just, dismissed it as like a closing credit song of a young adult novel movie adaptation. Like it just didn't do a whole lot for me. But I've listened to it some more and I've started to appreciate it a bit more. I like what it's going for. I think the best moments of the song are whenever the production isn't as big, whenever it's just a little smaller and she's a bit quieter and it can kind of just be her voice and a guitar. I think that's when the song is at its best. But when it builds, it does kind of lose me. It becomes a bit more generic. So I don't think this song is bad. I don't think any of the songs we're talking about today are necessarily bad. I just think for her, there's not much special about it. So I'm going to give it a C tier because it doesn't do a whole lot for me. Next one is maybe my hottest take of the episode, and we're talking about Driver's License. This is a song that I think is fine. I don't think it's great. This is one that a lot of people talk about it like it's one of the best songs of the decade, and it's like a Gen Z anthem, and it just didn't really click for me. Maybe because I'm just a bit older or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm listening to it now as a 23-year-old. If I had listened to it in high school, maybe it would have hit me differently. But yeah, it just doesn't really click for me. It feels a bit, I don't know. Whenever it builds and gets like the big explosive bridge at the end, just kind of loses me. It feels very generic, and I just don't really like the sound of it. But this song is very important culturally. This is probably her biggest song. And so for that reason, I'm going to give it a B tier. If I was just doing this song just based on how I feel about it, I'd probably give it a C tier. But it's so important that I have to at least give it its flowers in that regard. So B tier for Driver's License. Next song, Favorite Crime. I think similar to Scared of My Guitar, it uses like a very creative metaphor for this relationship. I think it's really strong songwriting. And I think the ending works really well. Olivia's voice sounds like she's really forcing herself to finally let go. And so I just like the sound of it. And again, the metaphor of this crime, how I don't know, I just like the way it's written. So this one's a very strong B tier. It's not quite A. It doesn't reach the greatness of A, but it's probably the top of my B tier. Next up, Brutal. I really like when Olivia Rodrigo leans into her punk rock teenage angst. And I think Brutal is a great example of that. It's kind of about the difference between the fantasy and reality of youth. Older generations saying like your younger years are your golden years, but for Olivia now, it's a lot of anxiety and insecurity and pressure and loneliness and all these things that are fueled by social media or just the people around her, just the culture around her. And like the punk music energy like really matches that frustration in the lyrics. So that just makes for like a really cool, honest, chaotic song in the best possible way. So that's an A tier for me. Next, Deja Vu. This is another creative breakup song. I mean, she's got a lot of these breakup songs, but this one's, I think, is a creative way to talk about it. She's using like these specific memories to show how painful it is watching someone else repeat those memories with the person that she just broke up with. And like the bridge is such a strong bridge because it like reworks this whole idea of restating the scenarios that the song previously stated, but twisting it, making it feel more hollow and less impactful now that it's with someone else. I just think that's really strong songwriting. And I like the tune, like just the actual tune, the melody here. I think it's really a really good song. So Deja Vu is going to be A tier. Okay, next one is Good For You. Yet another breakup song, but this time it's more sarcastic and angry. Whenever she's saying "Good for you," it feels very frustrated. It's like frustration is just like bubbling underneath the surface. And this song is very Paramore, Avril Lavigne inspired. So for me, that really appeals to me, just as someone that really enjoys that 2000s pop punk kind of sound. And it in the modern pop sphere now, a song like this really stands out because it is angry, it is frustrated. At a time when a lot of these pop stars, someone like a Sabrina Carpenter or a Dua Lipa or something, they're putting out these like dance songs, like fun dance songs that aren't really saying much. This is like this. It stands out and it's different and it's very cool to see somebody doing that. So, Good For You is an A tier for me. Next up is Stranger, and for me, this one feels a little too straightforward, especially compared to her more creative writing. It's kind of spelling out how she's feeling in a way that doesn't really click for me creatively. And same for like the musicality of this song. There's not much about it that stands out. It's kind of a standard alternative kind of folky sound. So it's not bad, but it's just not memorable for me. Not one of my favorites. So I'm going to go C tier for Stranger. And now we get into her music for her new album. We've got 8 songs from her new album to talk about. So we're going to start with her single, The Cure. And I really, really like the production of this song. It kind of slowly builds over the course of the song. It feels a bit more mature, both musically and lyrically. Like her continuing to look at these relationships less from a look at what these people are doing and how am I doing? Like how am I dealing with this? It's more introspective. And similar to Hope You're Okay, it's beautiful, but maybe it's a bit too sad for me just in terms of like wanting to replay it. So I think it's a B tier just because it's not one that I'm wanting to revisit, but it is quite good. If this is your tune, like if this is your vibe, then it's very good. It just doesn't have the like replayability for me. So that's a B tier for The Cure. And to immediately contradict myself, Honeybee is a very simple song, very small production. It's just her voice and no gimmicks, no fluff, no filler. It's just a great production, great vocals. But it's really showing her maturity and like she's embracing the simplicity of it to really convey how she's feeling. And it's kind of the best version of this kind of love song to me. It just really, really works. It's very effective. You really feel how she's feeling. So for Honeybee, I'm going A tier. This is one of my favorites off of this album. It's not my absolute favorite. I'm going to talk about that one soon. But it's a very, very solid song for this album. All right, next song is Maggots for Brains, fun title. I think this song is very heavily inspired by the English rock band The Cure, which is a band that I love. So this one, just the sound of this one really appeals to me. Great atmosphere, great vibe. And she's talking about the like loneliness and falling apart when her significant other is away. But it's still fun. It's still a fun listen, which I think is one of her strong suits as an artist is like, again, burying these deep ideas into fun songs. And again, like I've been saying, this album she's maturing, and this is another sign of that. It just shows a more mature sound while keeping that same energy that she's known for. So Maggots for Brains, I'm going to go B tier. It doesn't quite reach A like some of the other ones. But yeah, it's a B tier. It's not great, but it's good. Like it's really, really solid. It's a fun listen. Next one is You Plus Me Equals a Heart. And this one for me is like, it's a straightforward pop song. Again, like Maggots for Brains, it has this really strong influence by The Cure, the band The Cure. And it brings back that like the youthful energy of her earlier work. It captures the kind of silly, innocent, ooey gooey feeling of a new relationship. It doesn't totally blow me away. Again, it is a pretty standard pop song, but it's enjoyable. Like it's a fun listen if that's what you're after. So for this one, I'm gonna go B tier as well. Again, just it doesn't quite click for me as one of her greats, but it's doing what it's trying to do very well. So next one is My Way, and this is probably, if I had to, probably my least favorite song off of this album. I think my biggest issue with it is it's just way overproduced. There's so much going on, like in the musicality of it, that it's just like it doesn't make for a engaging listen for me. It's just a whole lot going on, and it just doesn't really connect for me. Both lyrically and musically, it just didn't really hit for me. So I'm gonna go C tier for My Way. Again, none of these songs are necessarily bad. I just think this one is the least, for my personal taste. It just doesn't hit me the same as some of these others. Next one is Purple, and this one I feel like, because we're recording this the Monday after the album released, so I've really only listened to this album a couple times, and this song, for some reason, I just didn't re-listen to it as much as some of the others. So I just feel like I haven't spent much time with this one. It's good, but I'm still figuring out like where's the thing that makes it special. I haven't quite found it yet, but I think it's good. So I'm gonna go B tier for this, like just a middle of the road, solid B tier. There's nothing about it that I dislike. There's just nothing about it that like wows me. So yeah, Purple is gonna be B tier just simply because I haven't given it much time to simmer, I guess. A song that I have been letting simmer and I've been re-listening to over and over again is What's Wrong With Me. This is her collaboration with Robert Smith from The Cure. So I've been saying all these songs have been inspired by The Cure. Turns out she's been working with Robert Smith, and I think this song is incredible. Their duets together, their harmonies together are fantastic. I think they have it's interesting that she's I think 23 years old, and Robert Smith is, The Cure was started in the 70s, so he's been around a long time. So for these two voices to actually work together is very cool, and it makes for a really cool sound. But the song feels like it's from another era. It feels like it belongs in the 80s or something, just with that Cure sound. And again, what Olivia does and what Robert Smith does is they kind of push their voices to this point of almost breaking, but it gives it this extra level of emotionality that adds to kind of the passion and the heartbreak that they're talking about in the lyrics. So this is easily my favorite song of the album. It's up there with Scared of My Guitar as my favorite Olivia Rodrigo song, full stop. I know that's early to say after just listening to it this weekend, but this is one of her best songs. I'm a big fan of this one. This is an S tier. And our final song is titled Less. This song has a rawness to it that hits really hard for me. I feel like it was written by someone much older than a 23-year-old. It's, again, similar to something like Honeybee. It's like a really stripped back production. It lets Olivia's voice carry the emotion. It's just a really very powerful vocal performance. And it's just a beautiful, like, kind of heartbreaking song. And so this one's great. This is an A tier, easy A tier. Very, very good stuff. So that's it. That's the ranking. I'm going to quickly recap all of my picks here. In S tier, I have Scared of My Guitar, Jealousy, and What's Wrong With Me. In A tier, I have Brutal, Deja Vu, Good For You, Honeybee, and Less. In B tier, I have Traitor, Driver's License, Favorite Crime, The Cure, Maggots for Brains, You Plus Me Equals a Heart, and Purple. In C tier, I have Hope You're Okay, Can't Catch Me Now, Stranger, and My Way. And in D tier, I got nothing. D tier is empty. Like I said earlier, all these songs are baseline good. I don't think there's a single like genuinely bad song here. So great job to Olivia Rodrigo. It's been interesting listening to all of her music this week, and it's a genre, like I said, that I don't really spend much time in. And now I have someone that I actually enjoy listening to in this genre. So maybe it'll open up my listening to other people. But yeah, This has been an interesting one for me. But if you're looking to connect with a younger crowd at your venue, Neptune Radio has you covered. Songs from artists like Olivia Rodrigo, like I've been talking about, who has 19 songs, these 19 songs that I just talked about in our library, are all a part of the Neptune Music Library, which includes over 60,000 tracks across hundreds of genres. So whether you're setting the vibe for a water park, an agri-tainment venue like a corn maze or a pumpkin patch, a fitness gym, or a family entertainment space, Neptune Radio makes it easy to keep your playlist fresh and relevant. So make sure you check it out today at neptunenow.com. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining. I want to thank Dalton for production support today, for running audio and cameras. I want to thank you guys for joining, for watching, for listening. And I hope you continue to join us here on YouTube, where you can like and subscribe and share and comment. And follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And make sure to share these episodes with your friends and family and talk about music with people, because this is a fun art form that we get to talk about. Thank you for joining again, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.